every time I want to talk, I have to lift it up?
Yes, you just put it to your face. That's moving it.
Just leave it alone. Here's what you need to do right here.
All right.
I'm one,
I'll just
he's
keep
two,
my
you're
little mouth
three.
shut.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. No, don't keep your mouth shut.
What? You're not letting her move the mic.
I know.
She's like, no, don't touch it.
She don't know what to do with that.
I want to see what I look like. I hope y'all know what y'all are talking about and saying.
Why?
You know you're live.
In 35 minutes, I will be.
No, we're already streaming. We're streaming the audio already.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Ah,
Go ahead and take that splash screen off. Well, maybe not.
You're just the guest today.
Oh, yeah.
Testing. I got nothing. Oh, here we go. Testing. There we go.
I can move my own thing.
Oh, you can, huh? I don't know about that.
one's in here. Okay, 1 is Michael. Leave it on 1. 2's Nolan.
You know you're live, Terry. And 3, 2, 1. Boom. We're live. Welcome, Nolan. Put it on Nolan. We got someone new here. Nolan Jackson.
If you're slow like that, I'm going to have to take that away from you. I'm going to do it myself.
Nolan's going to be wanting to reach over there and do this. We got put it on you. Put it on 3. There we go. That's who's doing the cameras today, so everyone can complain.
Yeah.
Send your complaints to Terry Stinks at freebornchurch.com. And we set up an email just for her. Terry Stinks. Here, Nolan, we got you this. Put it on me. Put it on. We're going to be telling her what to do. Here, we got you this, Nolan. So if you want to breathe, you push that button there.
See that? You got to put it on me now. Oh, no, that's you.
Yeah, you can. Just focus. Focus. Get in your zen. I don't even know what that means. Be zen.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. My breathing
I don't
switch.
know where to look.
No, just look on. You just look up there.
Right. Don't look at that.
Look up there.
That's what you're looking at.
Just look up there.
Ah,
Don't worry about what's on that screen.
All right.
There you go.
Good.
You'll be all right.
Yeah.
If you miss my expressions, I'm gonna be furious.
No, man. To your mother.
So how old are you today, Nolan? Come on. Who's a birthday boy? Who's the birthday boy?
I'm 24.
24.
And I expect everybody to sing me happy birthday.
Yeah, we don't do birthdays. That was about all you're going to get about your birthday.
Yeah, that's all right. So I know what I want for Christmas, so.
Oh, tell me what you want for Christmas.
I'm gonna be messing with that
Yeah,
all day.
Y'all keep rolling up to see if I'm doing this
Yeah.
right.
Are you doing it right?
I'm doing it right.
Okay. So what do you want for Christmas, Nolan?
Oh man, I'll just send you my my Amazon cart. Yeah, I'll send you a link to that. You can just order whatever's on there.
Oh, I
I
can.
just keep adding stuff for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't get your hopes up too high on that. Yeah. So how you been?
Good.
You've been just dying to get over there.
I know.
You keep when we were
I'm
doing the
wondering-
show, you keep creeping over there.
Well, most of it is you give me the crappy mic, you give me the crappy chair, and then you treat me like crap. So
And you come back every
I
Saturday.
come back because I love you. Yeah.
So how's that chair? You like
This
that chair?
chair's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real nice. I like this chair a lot.
How's
Yeah.
that chair?
That chair's no good. I do like the armrest on that chair a little more though. But this is nice. I like this chair. It's nice on the back. I guess. Yeah.
Well, maybe if you would lose a little weight.
I
That
did.
chair
Look,
fits you
look
better.
at all this room I got on this chair. I remember you sit on this, you fill it up.
Oh. You're not supposed to be mean to the host. You're supposed to just take it.
Oh, I ain't no chump.
You're no chump. So you want to talk about the election?
Yes.
What do you think about everything that's going on?
Oh man. Okay. So basically, I've come to this. All right, and I gotta be careful because you might see black helicopters coming in later after I say this. The whole thing started with the coronavirus, and this is all planned by the left. The whole coronavirus was all planned by them, right? They started this. It was not China. It was them, and it was all just to get mail-in ballots because they knew people got sick and they scared them enough they wouldn't leave the house. So then they got all these people, thousands and thousands of people that knew only the left would send in mail-in ballots. So then they got mail-in ballots.
So how did they? What do you mean they did this? So
they
created
orchestrated this. They're the smartest people in the world apparently. They did this. They started this.
You're talking my language now.
There's people going, I know, I do believe that.
That's Terry right now. She's like, yes.
That's exactly what
She's
they're
been
doing.
trying to tell me this now ever since all this started, right, Terry? Come on, put it on 3 and talk. Tell her to put it on 3. Put it on 3.
Put it on 3.
Put it on 3 and say what you want to say. Everyone know. We all know this is your language.
Yep. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. People are like, I know he's telling the truth. It's exactly what I think. Like, relax. Basically, if I think that it could be a great movie for Hollywood, I don't believe it in real life. Okay.
You hear that, Terry?
Nolan, I thought you were being serious.
Oh, well, no. Not even close.
She thought that was
I do believe they took advantage of the mail-in ballots. They know most of those go to Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously don't believe they created the virus for mail-in ballots. Obviously, that's ridiculous, but...
Or is it?
I thought you were smart, now you're an idiot. Yeah. Yeah. No, but I think this election has been insane. I don't remember. I was never really there. I don't think I was old enough for the 2000 one.
Uh-huh.
Was that 2000 or 2001?
Yeah, 2000.
2000.
With Bush Gore.
Bush and Al Gore. I heard that one when it was insane. That one went on for 32 days, 29 days, something like that.
Yeah, and December 12th or 13th when he conceded. It was interesting because I was watching that one. That was the first election we were here for, right, Terry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That we were actually living here for. And were we? No.
Yes,
No.
2008.
No, that was 2000. We were not
Bush
living
Gore.
here.
No, we weren't living.
You were here for the
We were here
Obama one.
for his re-election, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mhm.
No, we weren't even here for
the first
second
election we
Bush.
were here for was
Anyways,
the Obama
we were
one.
in the
Obama
States at the
was
time.
being elected.
Yes.
That was the election we
That
were here
campaign.
for.
Yes.
Where's my phone so I can turn up the AC? I don't know what happened to it. Anyway. Give me 1 second. Put it on him.
Yeah. Okay.
I should have gone to do this.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So we were here for the Obama one, not for just that one.
2000.
Just 2008. That's the one we were here for.
Mm-hmm.
I remember very little. I remember Bush and Al Gore debating, watching the debate, but very little. I just remember,
You
for
were
some
very
reason,
young
I
then.
remember exactly what Al Gore looked like. And that was a long time ago. I was probably like, what, 5? Maybe? 4?
Oh yeah, you'd have to be very young.
I was really young, 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember y'all watching the debate. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember that one. I knew that one was crazy. I don't know which one would be more crazier. I think it would still be that one.
Well, that one was interesting because now there was already an idea of how to handle a situation like this, and that's what Hillary came out telling Biden. She counseled Biden to not concede no matter what he did, and that was based on the 2000 one. Because what happened in 2000 was that Gore, they called Florida for Bush, and so Bush was on his way, and Gore called Bush and conceded. Right? He called Bush and said, "Congratulations, better man won," or whatever they say when they give that call. Dirty scumbag. I don't know what they actually say, but he conceded.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, the idea that that's what's supposed to happen in American politics is, you know, we have a hard fought election, then a gracious winner and a humble loser. And that's kind of been the paradigm for a long time. And so Bush was in the car driving to where he was supposed to give his victory speech, because they always have that all set up, the party, right?
Yeah.
And on his way there, Gore's people told him, Florida is way too close. It's way too close to be called. It's really close, because they have all these numbers, and they got number crunchers going at it all night long. And so he called up Bush again and said, I retract my concession. I don't concede.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And Bush was like, you what? That was the first time that, at least in modern history, that had happened. So that was
Yeah.
what made it crazy.
Okay.
Because the report was, you know, Gore conceded. And the next thing you know, the news are saying, well, Gore unconceded. And yeah, it turned out to be super, super close. It was within 500 and some ballots, less than 600 ballots. It was like 580 some ballots was the difference between the two. And of course, he wanted a recount. And every time they recounted, it got closer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was a lot of fighting over what was going to be recounted and how it was going to be. It's just the same thing it is now, only now it's a whole lot more votes in each state. No state is this close as Florida was with Bush and Gore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no state is that close. And there's like, he would have to win 4 or 5 of the states. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
You think it's going to happen?
No. No, I know that I listen to a lot of people who think it can. But you would have to assume that in Michigan he's down by 100,000, that he's over 100,000 in messed up ballots, and they have that. What happened there was a lot of it was that system crash that they had.
That Dominion?
Yes, that he lost. I don't know I think he lost by like 7,000 votes in one of the counties because of it. And when they fixed it, he was up 2,000 after that. So, that's
Right.
like 9,000 votes that they lost just in that one county. And apparently I think there's what did they say, 29 counties?
Yeah, I don't know how many there are in
It
Michigan.
was something like that would
Okay.
use that same system. So you're talking about, if you add all those up, it still doesn't equal 100,000 votes.
Right.
And then you have, he's real close in Georgia, assuming they're going to do that hand recount.
But in Georgia, the recount they're doing is not an audit. So
no,
all they're doing is counting them as they counted them the first time. They're
Yeah.
not analyzing each ballot to see if it's a
Each-
legitimate ballot or not.
yeah, exactly.
They're not doing that at all. So
It's going to be what 20 votes maybe that are different.
yeah,
You know,
a couple hundred.
A couple hundred.
Yeah.
So you're talking about he's probably not going to get Georgia, Pennsylvania. I would say no. I mean, I'm thinking all the states that they've already called, I think they're going to stay that way.
Yeah.
I think he lost by a good amount. I mean,
Well, it appears he lost the popular vote by a whole lot.
a whole lot. Yeah, over, I don't know, what was it, 100 million votes, I think.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah. No more. I think Biden's up to like 70, almost 74 million, and he got 70, so 4 million votes.
Yeah.
of difference in the popular vote.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't.
I think we're disappointing her. I think she was expecting us to say, he's got it. He can still.
You
A lot
think
of
he's gonna
people
win?
still think he can win.
Oh yeah, they're on.
Oh, yeah, they're
I
If
going
you
at
read
it.
Twitter.
I think he actually won. I do think that.
You think he won? You think it was stolen, or what do you think happened?
I think. Yeah, I think it was stolen.
And how did they steal it? How do you think that happened?
Well, we'll find out.
Well, how are we gonna find out? You're not gonna tell us. You know, and you won't
No.
say.
No.
What is that? How do you think they stole it? Put it on you. Put it on 3 and tell us what you're talking
No,
about.
the pressure is too enormous.
I'm so sure. No one's watching. I mean, there's no pressure.
Everybody might quote me.
Oh, okay.
So how did they
No,
steal
y'all
it?
go on.
Terry, how did they steal it? What do you think happened?
I don't know. I think it's that Dominion Dominion?
Yeah, the voting machines.
Yes, I do. I do. I think that that's it. I think a lot of people, because it just doesn't, it still doesn't make any sense. The enormous amount of enthusiasm that he had, the rallies, he was out there so much. I don't know. I don't see it. It doesn't add up to me in my head. It makes no sense.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying. And a lot of people are incredulous that Biden would get more votes than Obama would get.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's one point that a lot of people are making, that it seems kind of crazy that Biden would get more votes than Obama would in his 2008 election when there was so much fervor. I don't know. I have a hard time. See, but that would require, if let's say you adjusted the states that are contested, which are the only ones where cheating would matter. They're not going to cheat in Florida. In California. They're not going to cheat in New York.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to do it in Texas for the most part. I don't think it's worth it there. I think the only places they would risk such a thing would be Pennsylvania, because it doesn't matter about the popular vote. There's no reason.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually wanted to throw an election, you wouldn't care about the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something you put on TV. It doesn't actually mean anything, right? So you'd only do this in the states where it would be significant, which would be Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada. These are the states that can change the election, right? And Florida. And I don't know if you adjusted those states down to their let's say their average levels of voting, he would still win the popular vote by more than Obama.
And you got to also before the election, before November 3rd, they assumed Biden was going to win Ohio, Iowa, Florida. I mean, those were the battleground states.
Mm-hmm.
Like Biden was gonna win those states. So why aren't you seeing that same amount of discrepancies in those states as you are seeing in Pennsylvania, Michigan? And they said in Pennsylvania they were gonna have problems from the beginning because they always have problems no matter who's running. So you're seeing them in Michigan, right? So then, if you're not seeing them in the states that they think were going to be battleground states from the beginning, only in the very few that we see now, then, it's kind of hard to say that they're, that's a widespread. I don't know.
I guess I'm not willing to go hardcore either way.
Right.
Nothing will shock me.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the argument that people are making that somehow because he got more votes than Obama did, that somehow proves that there was some kind of fraud or whatever. I just don't think that you need that many votes to change. Let's say I'm not opposed to the idea that there could have been sufficient fraud to change the outcome of Pennsylvania, change the outcome of even Michigan, maybe. Arizona, perhaps. Okay, let's say that there's enough fraud to change the vote in those states. That isn't enough to give him an overwhelming popular vote victory. That just isn't enough. This is across the country. A lot of people were voting, and I think this had to do with the confluence of hating Trump, and there was huge. I think that hating someone is a better motivation to go vote than loving somebody. I think you'll get more people to vote because they hate somebody deeply than because they love somebody. I mean, how many people are going to go and write a positive review on Amazon because they loved a product, compared to how many people are willing to write a terrible review because they hated a product, right? So I think people are much more likely to act out of their hatred, out of anger, than they are out of excitement and joy. And so to me, it isn't unreasonable that Biden got such a huge amount of the popular vote based on people's complete vitriol against
And
Trump.
A lot of people called it, wrote books on this, wrote articles on how he was going to lose a lot of the white males' vote on this.
Yes.
Because he alienated them. He didn't do the things he said he was going to do in the previous election.
Yeah, that's anathema to Trump supporters. They hate to hear that Trump might have done anything wrong.
Yeah, he thinks their poop don't stink. Okay, these people are insane.
I'm not that kind of Trump supporter.
I know
Well, we're
you're
not talking about you.
You're
We're
not
just
you.
looking at you.
You're
Yeah,
We're just looking
we're
at
just
you. We're
making
not-
sure, cause ain't no family of mine gonna be like that. Yeah, that's very annoying to me. I don't think he. I mean, he was a good president. He did more for me, obviously, because one is he's the only president I lived through where I was an adult. So when you're a kid, who the president does not matter at all when you're a kid. It really doesn't. You're not affected by. Now as an adult, I got affected in a negative way by Obama hugely. You know, good. I can tell you the numbers. That stupid tax on not having insurance. I can tell you exactly what I paid for that nonsense. And the first thing he did, Trump did, was get rid of that. So that was amazing to me. But besides that, I mean, I think if he would have stuck to the plan he had with making hospitals show their prices, that got going for a while, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went away.
I was really for that. And the problem is, I think the problem with Trump was that he did not understand how the government worked. I don't think he understands how the U.S. government works, and he was trying to do everything the way a CEO would do it in a company, which is you just issue an order, right? The CEO makes a decision, and I know this is oversimplifying how companies work, but for the most part, the CEO can say, "This is what we're doing," and
the whole system changes,
and the whole system it starts to move in that direction. Yeah. The government, the U.S. government does not work that way. So the president cannot come out and say, hospitals are going to show their pricing from now on like a menu, which I think is exactly what is needed.
Yeah.
Yes. This idea that you go into the emergency room and they're like, we'll tell you in 7 months what this is going to cost.
No, it's ridiculous. I have a story on that. So I take Anna out of the emergency room. She feels real sick. So okay, let's go. And I'm thinking, they'll tell me and I get to kind of decide. They'll go, no, you need to go. We need to do this. We need to do that. Don't worry about the price, because that's how they get you, right?
All that matters is, don't you love her?
Don't you love your wife? I go, it depends on the price. Right. So they go in. I go, all right. I get all like flustered. All right, get her in there. Let's do what you got to do. I come out, right. They do so little bit. I mean, honestly, I could have just put my ear to her chest and say her heart's working, because that's really what they did. It's very annoying. Then they, so everything's good. I go to the front desk and it's $3,000. What? So yeah, you chose this package. I'm like, y'all couldn't say that's how much it would be for that. I'm like, no, we just wanted to get you in there. And I go, no, that's ridiculous. I said, that's my fault. Obviously, I'll pay what you're telling me, but I'm never coming back here again. And then I got a bill, I don't know, 2 weeks later for the doctors. That was just the equipment that they used. The doctors are separate. They work on a separate company. They don't work for that hospital.
Yeah.
So then I got a bill from them for another $2,000.
Oh.
So I've realized I got bills from Eldon, right? And I get these $1,000 bills, and I just decided I'm just gonna wait until they lower it. And they do. They send me a $300 bill after 6 months. I'm like, all right, that's more like it. I'll pay that. That's ridiculous.
Well, one thing you have to do if you're going to deal with the hospitals, you have to get things itemized.
Yeah.
You can't just pay a bill. They send you a bill, you got to send them back and say, I need this itemized. And then you'll find out that they're triple, quadruple charging you. Doctors who just stick their head in the room and say, how you doing? Oh, good. You think they're being nice. They're not being nice.
No,
They're running the bill up for themselves. They go I don't know that all doctors do this, so let's just assume they all do.
Doctors do it.
So like I said, let's just assume they all do it.
Yeah.
Because they're all conniving thieves.
Yeah. The whole system is messed.
And so when they're leaving for the day, they'll go and do some rounds and just pop into rooms of patients that aren't even theirs and ask, how you doing? Look at the chart, and you'll get a bill. You'll get charged for that visit from that doctor who did nothing.
So then I guess the lesson is that if a doctor comes in and says, how you doing? You go, well, can you look at this rash for me?
No.
You get your money's worth out of him. Yeah.
I need an enema.
Yeah, that's nasty. Oh man.
Yeah, so when I thought, man, if he could do that, that would be a huge improvement
Yeah.
to our life. It'd be a huge,
Oh yeah,
huge
it's wonderful.
improvement. Yeah.
Mexico was like. So I went to that private hospital in Mexico in Guadalajara
Okay.
just recently. It was just like that. You go in, you go. They have all the prices and what they're doing. I go,
Really?
I want that. I want that. I want that, and I don't want that. And it goes, oh well, that's package number. No. Give me that. 300 pesos.
So they have it like a menu,
No,
like
it's
if you're ordering
exactly
at
like
McDonald's.
a menu. Yes, it's literally just like that. I'll have number 1, number 2, number 4, and then number 3 with bacon. All right.
Maybe that's why you needed to be there, because of all that bacon.
All that bacon. Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah,
That's how it should be. I don't understand. Well, I understand. I mean, obviously, it's this whole corrupt system that we have, and it is. It's a corrupt system that we have where they are trying, in a way, to try to pay for all the people who aren't paying the bills, their own bills, and the government through Medicare and Medicaid, they dictate to the hospital how much they're able to charge. They tell them, they have the government sets prices of what they're willing to pay. Well, the hospital, they're gonna extract the money from other means, and also, it's the game of driving up the cost of the medical procedures, so that then the government will say, we're only going to pay you 80% or 70% of your normal pricing. So they just drive the normal pricing up, so that when they get their 70%, it's closer to what they wanted to be at.
Yeah.
It's just this. It's the problem with insurance that is run by somebody else, and this is the problem with health insurance. If it was run like car insurance, it would be a whole lot better. Where the insurance company assesses the value of your car, they write you a check, and you go and find somewhere to fix your car,
Yeah.
and you'll get the best value for your money that way.
Yep. Or they'll choose not to fix their car.
Yeah,
They
drive it
send
around
me a
broken.
check. I don't care if it doesn't have a bumper anymore. I don't care. I'm inside the car. I'm not right on the outside of it.
Yeah, a lot of people drive it around broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was very hopeful over that, and then
Yeah.
it just seemed to have gone nowhere with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
there's
yeah,
that clinic here in Texas that has that.
Mhm.
I say it's a clinic. It's
a surgery hospital.
It's a surgery hospital, and they have menu pricing.
I love that. You just go through, you pick what you want, and it
Yeah,
tells you
it's
this is
online.
what you will pay.
Yes.
You know, Adam, that's
it.
you give them that, you walk away. You don't
Yeah.
get a bills later. That's the-
Presumably, you walk away.
Presumably, you walk away. I mean,
No,
the
yeah,
prices seem pretty cheap.
yeah, you can go in and see and like knee replacement and all kinds of surgeries.
Yeah,
They don't do
gallbladder surgery.
They don't do like transplants and things
No.
like that, right? At least not last time I checked. But they have a long list. It's all online. You can go in, choose what you need, click it, and like check out and everything right online. You go to the place and get your stuff done. You know exactly what you're gonna pay.
I've saved that website just in case I need something done.
Yeah, me too.
I'll go there. I don't, even if I'm paying a little more, at least I know what I'm paying.
Yes.
And then you never know what you're paying in another hospital. You get bills constantly from
yeah,
these
they
people.
come. They'll
just-
come in for a year,
Yes.
and a
I'm
lot
still
of them
getting
are
bills.
duplicates. You'll get duplicate bills, and if you don't pay attention, you'll pay twice for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And if you ask them for, it's amazing. If you will go and say, send me an itemized bill for this, all of a sudden the cost will go way down. They're like, oh, we just noticed that we double charge you for everything. And they'll lower the price on everything.
Yeah.
Always ask for an itemized bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't accept, and then argue everything. Make them explain every purchase, every call, every charge. Make them explain every doctor, what they did, why they needed to do it, who authorized that to happen, where did that, I don't know who that, I don't remember that doctor. Who was he? When was he there? Make them work for every penny.
Yeah.
Because they're fleecing, and they do it because they especially do it to anyone they think has insurance. Because insurance companies generally just, if it's within a certain threshold, they'll just pay it. They're not going to pay their clerical workers the time to go through and challenge every single charge.
All
As
right.
long as it stays within a reasonable amount to them, they're just going to write the check to it.
Yeah.
And they have negotiations with these hospitals in the same way, where they pay a percentage sometimes and stuff. So that's how it works. So if you don't have insurance and you're just paying out of pocket, you're going to get slammed if you don't pay attention.
Yeah. That's true.
And don't ever go to the emergency room.
Yeah, I know. I like the emergency room you have around here.
That's not an emergency room.
What is it?
It's just a little clinic.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But they have an MRI and
Yeah.
an X-ray machine. I mean, they got some pretty.
Yeah, we took Cole to the emergency room because we didn't know. We never went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's us too. Yeah.
Yeah, last time I was in the hospital for myself was when I was like 13 for appendicitis. And I don't know if I've seen a doctor since then. I don't think I have.
Oh, Nolan was in the hospital.
No, I'm talking about me.
Yeah,
Oh,
him.
you.
He
Okay.
him going to the hospital for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
So they replaced your appendicitis and then put a steel stomach in you, huh? Is that what they did? Because he never gets sick. And we'll all be sick of the same thing, and he ate more than us, and he go get some more. It's insane. That or they put a worm in him. I don't know, one of the two, right? A big old nasty.
Yeah, so we took Cole to the emergency room because we didn't know where else to go because he had like a huge bump under his arm and like kind of like a rash, right? So we took him in there, and the doctor never touched him. I was in there with him. Cole took off his own, lifted his shirt, raised his arm. He looked underneath it like this and says, and he wrote and gave him a prescription, $800. They want to charge us $800 for that. We're like, you got to be kidding me! It was like 10 seconds. And well, then I realized they're charging what that emergency room, and I understand. I'm not necessarily saying this is unfair. It just was surprising.
Yeah.
But not when you realize that these emergency rooms are set up to do almost anything.
Anything. At all, yeah.
Right? And so if you were running a business and you had a room full of equipment that was that expensive and doctors that were that experienced, and somebody came in with an ingrown toenail and you looked at it, you have to charge them for what that room and that doctor cost to have on staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what you're charging for.
Yeah.
You're not charging for the ingrown toenail.
No.
You have to understand that. So don't go to the emergency room unless you need that level of care, right? Where money doesn't
You
matter
got shot
anymore.
6 times in the stomach. You go to the emergency room.
Then you go to the
yeah.
emergency room.
Yeah.
Other than that, then really, it's really economically it makes sense what they're doing. They are discouraging you from wasting resources.
Yeah.
It's a waste of resources to go to the emergency room because you have a tummy ache or because you have a cough or because you have a fever. That's just a waste of their resources. And that price that they charge should discourage you from doing
Yeah, they
that.
taught me a real good lesson. I appreciate that from them. Real good. Good $5,000 lesson right there. And then I also learned never to trust my wife when she says she's sicky. Yeah, get over it.
That's
Go
what-
take a nap. Wait.
That's exactly right. You also need to learn that with your kids. We're sick. You'll get over it. You'll either live or you'll die. We're not sure what we're rooting for yet.
Your wife just told you to shut up.
Is that what she just said?
Yeah. And I have to concur.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Wait, people. Man.
Yeah, so we took so now we have this the one you're talking about. We have this little clinic, and they have like a capped amount, isn't it right? It's like
Yes.
you don't pay more than $400,
$300.
no matter what.
You don't pay more than 500.
500. So 500's their max, right? Whatever they do, you won't pay more than 500, and usually it's less.
Yeah.
And you just go in, they do it. You know you're not gonna spend more than 500. The only thing there is, so now that we're giving out all these life hacks to people on this, and maybe everyone knows this, but when you go to these places and they say you need to go to the hospital, drive yourself to the hospital. Do not use the ambulance. Say, we have an ambulance. The ambulance will take you. They will charge you thousands and thousands of dollars to give you a ride to the hospital. Just say, no, thank you. Get on your bicycle and pedal yourself there.
Yeah, they charge y'all quite a bit, huh, y'all?
For the ambulance, yes.
For who?
For
Cole. Man, you're
That's how we know this.
When did he? I don't remember that.
Cole went in because he
Yeah.
had bleeding
on 3.
in his. Mhm. I hate putting the camera on me. He had some bleeding in his stomach because
Right.
of an ulcer or something
Yeah.
and so they wanted him to go admit him into the hospital, and they called the ambulance, and I said, great, let's do that. And then the bill later was
A lot.
a lot.
That's right. That's how we know. I knew that somehow.
Yeah.
Mom was like, y'all offer that? Can y'all get me a towel for my eyes? Just beautiful surface.
Yeah. So I don't know how we got off on all that.
Well, Trump was supposed to
Oh yeah.
be our man on that, and he
Yes.
messed up.
Yeah, and that, like I was saying, I think it's because he doesn't understand or appreciate how government works. That's why I was never a big Trump supporter. I mean, I voted for him because I voted for him at the moment it became a choice between good and evil. If you
Yeah.
want to call it that, between abortion and not abortion.
Yeah.
Right, between leftism and hopefully not leftism, because at the first time I wasn't sure, because there's a lot of people that weren't sure
Mm-hmm.
that if Trump was going to be a true conservative or govern as a true conservative anyways, and he has. I think he definitely has. The problem I had with Trump, the main problem I had with Trump, is that I did not believe that he was going to be able to work the Congress
Mm-hmm.
the way is needed. I think that the best president, if you want to get something done, is going to be like an LBJ, a Lyndon Johnson,
Yeah.
who has been was Senate Majority Leader forever, was really successful at it, knew how to get the votes, knew what it meant, how you got
How the system work?
how that congressional system worked, how you got bills through the House, through the Senate. He knew how all that worked. And as a president, that's one thing I don't agree with what he did, but he was really, really good at that.
Yeah. I
He
agree.
was super good. And that made him very effective. He got a lot of things done that did not seem possible.
Mhm.
Like the Civil Rights Bill, he got that pushed through. People didn't think that would happen. He got Medicare and Medicaid, I think. He did the War on Poverty stuff, which was huge legislation. I don't agree with it. But just from a objective standpoint of getting it done, was phenomenal.
Mhm.
Phenomenal. And it's because he really understood how Congress works.
And he stuffed the ballot box.
Lyndon Johnson did?
Yes, he's a cheater.
He's a cheater. Well, how is he a cheater?
He's a cheater.
What?
It's known that he stuffed the ballot boxes
When?
with his run against Nixon, wasn't it? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He didn't run
So
against
they
Nixon.
say, or whoever he ran against. I thought it was Nixon. He barely won, and they say it's been.
That's
that-
Kennedy.
No.
Kennedy ran
Kennedy
against
did
Nixon.
that. Kennedy did that
Johnson
against
won
Nixon.
by enormous, overwhelming majority. He ran against
I
Goldwater.
just heard it.
No,
No, I knew that. I knew Kennedy did that.
Kennedy.
He did that
Kennedy
in
against
Chicago,
Nixon was
Illinois.
very,
Okay,
very
we're gonna have
slim.
To look this up because I'm almost
Johnson-
positive I heard.
Johnson had the biggest, what do they call it? I can't think of the word. Victory,
Landslide.
landslide. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Had the largest landslide until Reagan. I mean, it was huge. It was massive because he ran against Goldwater, and Goldwater was one of those conservatives who was too pure. Too pure. So Goldwater voted against the Civil Rights Act because he believed in states' rights. He didn't like racism. He wanted civil rights, but he wanted the states to enact it. And these states were never going to do it. They were never going to do
Oh,
it. So
I'm gonna
Goldwater
look
voted
that up.
against it, and that really hurt Goldwater. And then Goldwater appeared to many people to be warmongering, and that he was just going to start, he's going to end up starting World War III. And so LBJ had that famous political ad, famous one, where you got that little girl and has a little flower. Have you seen it?
Mhm.
And she's got like a daisy, and she's 1, 2, or 2, 3, whatever, counting the petals.
Mhm.
And then when she gets done, it starts counting backwards: 9, 8, 7, 6, and then the atomic cloud scared everyone that Goldwater would start nuclear war because he was a hawk. course, what was ironic was that Lyndon B. Johnson was already ramping up Vietnam and turned Vietnam into this huge thing. And that's why Lyndon B. Johnson he didn't even run again. He didn't run for a second term. You don't remember all that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I don't know that LBJ's a cheater.
Well, I'm telling you, I just listened to on a radio show.
That LBJ was a cheater.
LBJ stuffed the ballot box. And I'm like, I'm not sure what stuffing a ballot box actually means.
I think that's a figurative term. I don't think that LBJ actually had like ballots in his pocket and went and stuffed them in. So I think they mean figuratively
is that it's not like a phenomenon that
like a modern phenomenon.
A modern phenomenon of
of course
cheating
not.
the election.
No, of course not.
And their point was that other presidents have done that to win, something like that.
Right. But
And
see,
I'm almost positive.
anything LBJ might have done, you could say that they might have done it. I would say I don't know. I doubt LBJ had anything personally to do or personal knowledge of anything happening. But let's just say the Democratic Party or Democratic operatives or Democrats themselves for LBJ did something like that. It was inconsequential because of the degree to which he won was enormous. It was a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
He had a landslide victory, and that was before Texas was red. So he's winning Texas and all these other, all the South was blue, right? But he had a huge landslide victory.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Kennedy, it was extremely close, and he lost. Nixon lost Illinois by 1,000 votes, I think it was.
Yeah, I think his dad went into the ballots and added another Nixon.
Well, that's a tip. That's not actually illegal or anything.
I
That's
know. No, it's not.
That's
illegal.
just hard-nosed politics, and
Yeah.
it happens, right? They'll get in certain places where they know that they could get enough votes to carry a state that's going to be close. They can get someone with a similar name to run, and you get these low information voters are going to vote for a Nixon who isn't Richard Nixon. He's another Nixon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened as much anymore. It's a lot less nowadays, I think, that kind of thing. Those kind of tricks.
Yeah.
So who else is a cheater?
Yeah, Mom.
Oh,
Not
I'm
Trump.
commenting
Trump is
anymore.
not a cheater. Beautiful man.
Beautiful man. I love his orange hair.
Love his orange hair.
That's hilarious.
But see, I think that the biggest or the most impactful cheating or trick that was done was the rioting. I think that more people legitimately voted against Trump and cost Trump the election because of their fear that there would be riots than that there were actually fraudulent ballots. So it's a
I've never
form
heard
of
that before.
fraud. It's a form of fraud that isn't illegal in and of itself, nor is directly illegal.
Manipulation, maybe.
Hmm?
Like a voter manipulation.
It's voter manipulation, but you can't say that there's no way to nullify the election based on that. See, when I think that and it's really pretty brilliant because if you actually manipulate the vote by, stuffing the ballot box or doing these things, if you can discover it and know, okay, that happened, then that would you can cancel those votes. But even if you could prove that the rioters intended to suppress the vote, even if you could prove that they intended that to happen, it would not nullify a single vote.
Mm-mm.
Even if you had ironclad evidence that it purposefully went out to burn things down to suppress the vote, you still would not cancel a single vote. All those votes would still hold. So it's voter fraud, but it's voter fraud that even under the best possible case cannot be undone.
Mm-mm.
So the left is just the smartest people in the world, aren't they? They figure it out any way to win.
Well, they were trained this way by their parents. This is what Christians have been saying forever. That if we continue to raise children in a way in which by throwing a temper tantrum, they can get what they want, we're going to end up with a society that acts this way. Conservative Christianity, fundamentalism, has been predicting this for decades. That what we see in the world today, this is going to be the result of the way we're raising our children, the way child psychology is being presented. And now that's where we're at, right? So you go out there, and how do you get people to do what you want? Through intimidation, through fear, through violence, and this is what they do. And I think that when you look at, for instance, you mentioned how Trump did not win he lost a lot of the white male vote.
Yeah.
You have to look at that and ask yourself why that would be. Why would white men, when he gained share in all the other categories, from blacks, Hispanics, women, even all other categories, including
Latinos,
college-educated Latinos, all other Latinx, come on, be woke. From all other categories, he gained support, and he lost support amongst white men.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to ask yourself, why would that be? And I think there's two reasons why. One is, I think that most white men, or I want to say most, I think many white men, let's put it that way, many white men do not like Trump. They are for him as a president. They're like, okay, we want him to do well. We voted for him. I agree with his policies. But on a personal level, I don't think they like him. I think Trump represents to them the guy that's on every football team, the guy that's in every locker room, the guy that's on every golf course, that blowhard, braggadocious guy who's, you just can't wait for him to get his comeuppance. And I think that's part of it. And then the other part is, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to put ourselves in the position to have to fight off rioters? And I think that a lot of them thought like me and thought it's almost not worth it. It just isn't worth electing Trump and dealing with all the riots and all the burning. I mean, you were down in Austin the day of the election.
Yeah.
Everything was boarded up.
Mm-hmm.
The entire city of Austin practically was boarded up.
Yeah.
And it's because they're afraid that if Trump would have run, there would have been mass riots in that city. And I think there's a lot of men who felt the responsibility of protecting their family who thought this just isn't worth it. And it's because Trump, I believe, did not give them a strong enough reason to vote for him.
I think that's one of Trump's biggest problems. And he did that, and he could have done that with any of the debates he had. He had 4 years to convince people that he was an actual conservative, going to fight for your rights, and and diminish, or I'm losing the word there, to show how horrible mob mentality is, and he never did it. He never even mentioned it, and so it didn't give anybody real any good. They didn't make them feel good about voting for him.
That was a problem.
Any security at all on voting for him. I agree with that. The problem is that I don't think Biden is. I don't see Biden being any better in that sense.
Well, there won't be riots.
Yes, but it doesn't criminalize the riots.
No, but there won't be riots. So you have to think, I think you have to look at it from the standpoint of these, if we're talking about in the context of these men, you have to look at it from the standpoint of these men and say, well, what would make, how would you put it? If you're one of these men, you have to ask yourself, what would it take for me to vote for Trump? What would it take for me to do that, considering that when I do it, and if he wins, there's going to be these huge riots in the street. And what am I going to do about that? I have a family, I have a house, I have property. And if they start attacking my property and I go out and defend it, I'm going to go to jail. There's like no way to win in this. People say, that sooner or later, all the conservatives that have all the guns and bullets are going to get fed up with this and do what? Anything they do will put them in jail.
Right, because the left are the ones in politics, the ones putting them in jail.
Yes.
Criminalizing protecting your home.
Yes, you'll have the
Yeah.
army. As soon as you go out there and start shooting them, then you're going to have the military, the army, whoever it takes to come in, and it's not like they're going to pat you on the back and say well done. I don't care what these sheriffs are saying in these counties where they're like, we're telling our people to shoot off the rioters. Everyone knows you do that, you're in for a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Even if it's not criminal, they are going to civilly sue you into oblivion.
Yeah.
And that's all. And they have nothing. They don't have a job that they have to show up on the next day. You do. They don't have property that you can be able to put a lien against. You do. So what are you going to do? So you're looking at that and you're saying, I know that Biden is actually part of the chronic problem that we're talking about, but if he's elected, nobody's going to riot. That problem goes away as far as I'm concerned.
See, I think a lot of people will have a lot of issue with you saying that.
Why?
Saying that, I know that you voted for Trump.
Right. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that's
you're
what
not
I
saying-
think.
No, I know, but a lot of people are going to be like, no, you should never give up. You should always fight for, whatever.
Sure,
they
but
say.
they're not the ones on the front line either. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
people that say that, it's easy to say that when you live in Texas and there's no problem.
Yeah.
Move somewhere where there's riots. Go to Portland then and don't give in.
Yeah, in Washington and
Anywhere where there's actual riots and they're burning stuff out on the street, do like the young man did that's now in jail. What's his name? Rickenhouse or what was that guy? The young man who shot those people in Portland with his AR? What was his name?
I don't know his name. I know. I know what he looks like.
Yeah. Man, I thought it was like Rickenhouse or something like that. Can't remember now what it was. Anyways, that's what he did. He wasn't from there. He traveled up there to confront that and not give in. And he's sitting in jail. And he'll probably go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
He'll most likely go to prison unless Trump pardons him before he leaves office. So, anyone who says, you should just never give in, okay, well then there's plenty of places to put that to the test. It's easy to say that to people who are putting their business and their homes and their families and their whole future on the line and tell them should never give in.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that's what I would think if they were rioting outside my house. But I don't know that's what I would think. I think that if I was living in a place where there was rioting and burning and looting, and I knew that electing Biden would put an end to that, even though it's basically giving... I look at it this way, and this goes back to what I was saying about how we've raised kids and has produced this.
Yeah.
You're taking care of someone else's kid, and this is a spoiled brat kid, and he's on the ground, he's kicking, he's screaming, he's breaking your vases, he's knocking over your furniture. What are you gonna do?
Bend him over and spank him.
Yeah, right. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Well, he's crying because he wants a popsicle or he wants a lollipop. You're just gonna give him a lollipop. And people will say, well, you're giving in, and that'll never teach him a lesson. And your point is, I don't care.
It's not my kid.
It's not my kid. Send him home to his parents. Let them worry about it. They're like, well, when he grows up, he'll be someone. He'll be your problem. It's like, I don't care. Right now, I just don't want that hassle. And I think there was a lot of men who felt that way and didn't vote for Trump because when you look at those ballots, they voted down ticket Republican. But they just didn't vote for Trump.
No, that's Arizona. They have all those signs on in protesting Republicans for Trump. Yeah, you got to put me on there. This is my show today, and you're not showing me.
You're stressed about what we're talking about?
Oh, no. This is a lot of stress. Where do I put the camera on?
Well, when he's talking, you put it on.
Okay.
It's not as hard as not as easy as it looks, huh?
No, it gets a little bit stressful. So wait, hold on. I just want to clarify something, just so for our many listeners and
for both listeners.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. So a study in the New York Times of Lyndon B. Johnson provides evidence that the 36th president stole his first election to the United States Senate.
Oh, okay.
In 1948, like he took it to like a whole new level.
Right.
Of thievery.
Yes, I thought you were talking about his presidential election.
Well, I did too.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I didn't realize it was the Senate.
Yes, I knew that because that was where there's a famous joke in Texas. So he was a Texan and he was a Texas senator, And the famous joke in Texas was that the little boy is crying, and the mom says, or someone says, why are you crying? He says, well, Grandpa came back from the dead and voted for Johnson, but he didn't visit me. Something like that is how it went.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. That was very well known that Johnson was someone who did what he had to do to get to where he was trying to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But you also have to realize at that time, and I'm not, it's to contextualize, not to justify, but he's not running against Republicans. That's what people need to realize.
Mm-hmm.
He was running in the primary against Democrats. There was no Republican challenge.
Right. Okay.
You couldn't. Yeah. You weren't going to go to the Senate in Texas as a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Lyndall tells a story. Lyndall Kincaid tells a story that when he became voting age, one of his neighbors said, "Hey, did you vote in the primary?" And Lyndall says no, because he was a Republican his whole life, and he says no, I'm going to vote in the general, because he's going to vote for the Republican. And the neighbor laughed at him and said, that's pointless. It's a given who's going to win the general. Mm-hmm. It's whoever wins the Democratic primary. Mm-hmm. If you don't vote in the primary, you're not voting.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's what Lyndon did was the primary. That was the DNC, and that's the Democratic National Convention has been dirty at all levels for a very long time. That's what happened with Hillary, right? Hillary, they just did terrible, dirty tricks against Bernie, which is great.
Yeah, Bernie stinks.
Yeah, I'm actually applauding.
Yeah, good job on that one.
Good job. Hillary was actually better than Bernie.
Yeah, anybody's better than Bernie. That guy. Guy's an idiot.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Insane.
Him and AOC, them two are two peas in a pod. So that you wanted to make sure everyone knew that I was wrong.
No, I don't want to make sure.
Yeah, you did. You spent that whole time looking on your phone to see how you're going to prove him wrong.
My sweet husband wrong. I would never do that.
So sure.
And her eyes light up when she gets to do it too. She's so happy.
I feel very overjoyed.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Mm-hmm. Have you been to LBJ's birthplace? Johnson City? Have you been through there?
Yeah, we all did.
We just did.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's where he was born.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think it is.
The cheating was done in Alice, a little town in Alice, Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Why there?
I don't know.
Huh.
I didn't read everything, so.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So they say that I would agree that probably Biden will win. Okay, this is what I think. That I don't know if we're truly going to know the results of the election. Truly. Okay, but the electorates probably will vote for Biden. It's probably going to go that way. But if they don't, will the Democrats concede? After all of this, everybody has congratulated them. All of that.
You mean if they overturn these states, if the states flip and they become
states flip, and yes, and the courts agree that Donald Trump is has been.
The courts don't agree to that. The courts don't get to choose that.
They can say there's fraud.
No, they can't.
What do they do then?
They can say that there is constitutional justification for certain types of recounts.
Right. Okay.
That doesn't mean that they're saying there is fraud. They're saying that the whole point is, does the law specify a recount under certain circumstances? Is the law being followed in the electoral sense? Mm-hmm. And that's what the judges can actually do. So that's what happened in Florida. The Supreme Court didn't say, we want Bush to be president.
Right. Okay.
What they said was, the recount that you're attempting to do is not constitutional. Mm-hmm. You can't do it that way. Mm-hmm. And that ended Gore's chances.
Which he's dumb, because he could have had a recount if he wasn't dumb about it.
Yes, he should have allowed a statewide recount. Gore was trying to do a very targeted recount. And
pregnant. So you had that problem with the pregnant Chads. You know what that is? Or
remember
halfway punched They had the hole puncher.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay, that's how they voted in Florida.
Yeah.
They had a hole puncher.
Mm.
Well, some of those weren't getting punched all the way through.
Or they would look
Yeah.
like, or there would be one that was a little like pregnant,
Yeah.
right? It was like dimpled, but then another hole, let's say Gore's was dimpled, but Bush's was punched through. Well, typically you would say either the one that actually has the hole is the one that counts, or you would say neither count because they did 2 votes. Even though it didn't get punched through, you don't know which is second, so you just nullify the vote altogether. Well, Gore wanted anything with his to be counted for him, regardless of anything else. That's kind of what they
He
wanted.
goes, I want those recounted and counted for me because they discarded those. They saw that they discarded them, and they found out that they had a whole bunch of discarded votes that way. And he goes, no, I want those counted and counted for me. Well, then the Supreme Court says, get out of here, idiot. Go take a walk.
Yeah, I mean, if he and I think they've pretty much shown because that election those votes have been examined, were examined for years afterwards, and I think they've shown that if he would have just let the state do the recount that they would have done by law,
Yeah.
he would have won.
Mm-hmm.
He would have won the
So
election.
will Biden concede? Is my question.
Right, but
Are
anyways,
we going to have 2 presidents?
well, we can't have 2 presidents because concession is a formality. That's just our polite formality that we have in American politics. It doesn't matter. It's like the news stations calling it.
Yeah.
It's meaning. It's like we called it. You have to concede.
And then they keep saying how Biden has his office,
Office of the president-elect.
Of the president-elect. Everybody's making fun of it. There's no such thing. It's in his basement.
Well, that's why on Twitter now everyone is calling themselves president-elect. A whole bunch of people changed their Twitter handle. President-elect.
I just choose it.
Yeah,
I'm
you can just
president.
call yourself that randomly.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But whether they concede or not, I don't know. Whether you can't have 2 presidents. That just simply isn't going to happen.
No, I know that, but that's what
Right.
they're saying. We could have 2 presidents. I know,
Right.
and obviously you cannot have 2 presidents, and then it can go down to what the legislators or
Yeah, the state
Well,
legislature
once the
said that.
electors go and vote, then it's over.
it's over.
Right. That's the only vote that actually matters. I mean, technically, the only vote that
I
matters.
just envision chaos.
Oh, it could be chaotic, no doubt, but it'll be chaotic in the streets. It won't be chaotic in the White House. There won't be like a tug of war over the Oval Office in the White House.
Okay.
Yeah,
The electors are going to go in. They go to Congress. They sit in Congress. They cast their ballots. They actually can cast the ballot any way they want at that moment, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
So they're chosen. Of course, hardly ever do you have what they call faithless electors. That's what they call it, right? A faithless elector is somebody who sent to vote for a specific person and votes for somebody else. One of them, there was a faithless elector with Reagan. I think there was a faithless elector with Bush, and there might have been one with Trump. But you're talking, but there's 500 in some of them,
Okay.
right? Anyway, so the elector's going to go. They're going to sit down and they vote, and that vote is the only vote that matters.
Okay.
The president has not been elected yet. That's what people need to realize.
Yes,
What we've elected are the electors.
Yeah.
That's who we've elected.
Okay.
People think, well, I chose a president. You don't vote for the president.
You vote for the
Technically
electors.
speaking, you do not vote
Yeah.
for the president. Biden has not been elected yet. When the electors vote, then he's been elected.
Right.
Now, because it is so historically and logically, if you win the electoral vote, right, or you win the state's votes,
Well, because you need 270. So if you get that, they say you.
but those electors can always vote for someone else.
Right. Okay.
So until they actually vote, you
Yeah.
haven't been elected.
Right.
Nobody has voted for Biden yet. That's what people don't realize. Nobody has actually voted for any president yet. We've only voted to tell the legislature who to send as our electors. Now they're going to choose, they always choose the most loyal group they can find. That's who they're going to choose. And so whoever they send, they're going to vote. So if the legislature send Biden electors, Biden's going to be elected. There's no chance I think that there is zero possibility that any group of electors will vote against whoever they're sent to vote for.
Yeah.
Although in theory, that's the idea,
Yeah. Right.
right? When they created the Electoral College, the idea was these people would be independent, that in a situation where the election was so tainted, they could then vote for whoever they thought should be president.
Okay.
So they could go, theoretically,
They could.
the Electoral College could elect me to be president.
Do it.
Campaigning.
Start campaigning. I want to be president.
Which is a crazy, crazy system. Can you imagine if the Electoral College went and they elected someone else entirely? Not at all. Who?
I would not mind that. Depends who it was, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind not having Trump or Biden.
No kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Boy, that would make them cry.
Yeah.
That would. Now you want to see pandemonium in the streets? That would be.
Yeah, you
complete.
have the right and the left protesting now.
Oh my goodness, there'd be rioting everywhere. Everyone will be rioting.
Problems to solve today, so let's not make another one.
That would be hilarious.
But with the
Who would you want to
Democrats,
see president?
if I could have anyone I wanted,
Yes, if you just choose somebody right now, someone who's eligible to run right now, who would you want to see in the Oval Office?
boy,
Make it good.
that's a tough one.
Can I give you a hint?
You know who you would want? Let me see if I know who you'd want. Crenshaw.
Okay, well, maybe a week ago I would have said Crenshaw.
Okay, so now who?
To stop looking
Well, change it. Change it.
Okay, so I've been really impressed with the governor from Florida.
Oh, DeSantis?
Yes. Yes. Very impressed by him.
So he's taken, so it'd be a Santos Crenshaw ticket?
That would be pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
Who would you want?
I think I want. I think I would have said Crenshaw too. But I've kind of liked listening to what's his name? Lost his name just now. I always say his voice is annoying.
Oh, Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz.
Yes, he's another one.
I would choose Ted Cruz.
Really?
I've enjoyed listening to him. He's not a Trump fan, but yet he works hard at trying to find the truth.
ground.
Yeah, common ground. You know, he's not a Mitt Romney. You know, he still has his spine intact. So
It's true.
I'm just kidding. Mitt Romney's fine.
No, he's not.
Guy's a loser. Man, I just like
Who's a
Mitt
loser?
Romney.
I'm
Mitt
sorry.
Romney, the
Yeah.
dude has no spine.
Yeah.
Him and Newsom deserve to be together. They should have run together.
They would probably that would probably actually work for
Yeah.
both of them. Boy, I don't know.
I like Ted Cruz.
I don't know who I would want there. That's a really, really hard one for me. See, there's people that I like their like, so let's say Thomas Sowell. Of course, he's too old now, but let's just say he wasn't. Well, but he has no political ability that you know of.
Right.
Right. I think he's one of the most brilliant people in America today.
That's
At the same time, I don't think that he could get anything done because he doesn't know how government works. Right. He's never been in.
He'd be a Trump,
doesn't-
basically.
Right. Or
Yeah,
worse.
or worse.
Right. You have all these ideals and no way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people. I'm just using him as an example, but there's a lot of people that I really like. I really respect and admire their policies, their positions, their worldview, but they have no experience in government, which is why they can have these pure, unadulterated worldviews and policies and opinions, right? Because they don't actually have to get anything done.
Yeah.
So it's easy to sit there and write articles and columns about how horrible one side is and how great these proposed solutions are. But you have to actually get them implemented. And knowing how to compromise to get that done, compromise what doesn't matter and keep intact what does, that's an art form.
Yeah.
That's called politics.
Yeah.
So I don't want a non-politician.
You were excited for Trump because he wasn't a politician at
No.
the beginning? Oh, you never.
No.
Okay, people were. You mentioned
people
it
were.
to me that people are. That's one of the reasons he got elected the first time.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
sick and tired of politicians, and that's when what's his name had a good chance.
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. He had such a great chance, and he ruined it.
Yeah, he did.
He did so bad during the debate.
In the second debate.
He did that one where he took the moment of silence. You remember that?
Maybe.
Yeah, he got up there and it was his turn to talk, and he goes and he uses, I don't know, a minute, but he only has 2. So he used half his time to say, let's bow our heads for a moment of silence. And everybody was kind of like, they were all like, oh, what's up with this guy?
Yeah, no. The first debate, he was himself and he was brilliant. He had a lot of great lines.
Yeah.
He spoke against minimum wage and had a tremendous opinion on that, I thought, which is let's have a split minimum wage, which was a brilliant solution, was a political solution.
Yeah.
Very good. Then he backed off of that in the second debate, ruined that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
On the first debate, he had the great line of that being president wasn't brain surgery.
Yeah.
Which is a great line because he was a brain surgeon, right?
He always used to say that during his talks. He goes,
that was his
He goes,
line.
yeah. What does he say? I know y'all want me to run for president, and I know it's not brain surgery or something like that. He would say something like that.
Yeah, he'd use that, him being a neurosurgeon, to his advantage. And so that was a great line in the debate.
Yeah.
In the second debate he just fell apart.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the political depth for it. Either did Trump, but Trump would just
But Trump
berate
says,
everybody.
forget these politicians. I'm not, and he sold himself on not being a politician.
Yeah,
and
but see,
people
to me,
enjoyed
that was what I didn't like about him.
I know. I would like to see, that's why I like Ted Cruz. He's on the side of, I'm going to say what I want, but yet I'm still a politician. And
He is, but he's not a very good one.
No.
He has not accomplished
Maybe he's
hardly
not.
anything as a politician because
No?
everyone hates him. He's considered the most hated man in Washington.
I like that. What's wrong with that?
Until Trump. Now
Until
Trump is. Right.
yeah.
Well, the problem is that you can't have your senators hating you and get anything done.
That is true.
I'm not convinced he's a good politician. I think for people who voted for him, and I voted for him for Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for people who voted for him out of Texas, he's a great senator for them. They like him. They know he's going to stand for them, and he's not trying to curry favor with anyone else. But he's not getting anything done. He's not a Lyndon Johnson.
Right.
Lyndon Johnson got stuff done.
You know who I forgot for my VP?
Who?
It doesn't matter to who was the president. No.
Kristi Noem. You want
Kristi
Noem for
I
VP?
would like that. That would be neato. I liked her little rebuttal on social distancing.
Shooting
shooting a bird. That's awesome. I
like Noem. I like her a lot. I fear that she has zero real life experience in government. And I fear that she will become like Palin and just get swept away by the tidal wave that is American federal politics. That's like going from playing in a junior varsity team to going and playing in the pros.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're just going to get demolished. You think you're the big man on campus on high school.
Yeah.
And you get up there to Washington and you find out.
School.
Yeah, tiny high school. Now, that may not be the case, right? Mm-hmm. She could be all that brilliant. But if I were Kristi Noem, and if Kristi Noem is watching this podcast right now, just know, first off, if it were up to me, I would be your constituent.
Yeah. Your teacher?
I would live there. Constituent means I'd live there. I would be under her political authority.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very much in favor of Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
And if I was counseling Kristi Noem, I would tell her to go hire all the smartest people she can find on all different issues and go to political college. Go find someone who knows, go get like a Newt Gingrich or somebody like that who knows how to run, knows how to handle the House. Go get someone who knows how to wrangle the Senate. Go get someone who knows how to deal with the Supreme Court. Get all these people and sit there 8 hours a day, 5 days or 6 days a week for 2 years and come out really knowing your stuff and then run.
Mm-hmm.
That was a problem with Palin. I thought Palin, when she was offered the VP, she should have turned it down. She should have realized that her political capital was huge and that she was not ready to spend it yet, and she should have turned it down, got ready for it, and then ran as president. And maybe she could have
she made herself look real dumb during the election.
Terrible.
Like,
Over and
yeesh.
over.
It was the funniest one she did was when she was promoting Trump. That speech she had.
I didn't.
You remember that? Everybody
No.
was making fun
What
of her.
happened?
Well, she had the most. Think of any cliche, we can do it quotes. She told them all.
Oh.
All of them. It was terrible. And you can just see Trump's face in the back, like,
Cringing.
yeah. It was real.
I
like,
think I didn't listen to it because by then I had completely been disillusioned or disappointed in her
Yeah.
because she never did. She never boned up on anything.
Mm-hmm.
She just kept going. It's like, when she started, everyone knew she was an ingenue. Everyone knew she was naive and inexperienced, and they were willing to overlook that because she was exciting. And she represented something that you hadn't seen in the Republican Party, right? Of a woman who was really conservative, who had achieved a national prominence on her own, really worked at it, become governor of a state. And so you're looking at that going, this is, she has real potential. She mistook potential for actual skill.
Ability.
Yeah, she didn't bone up. She didn't get actually prepared to be able to handle that. And so it was very disappointing.
Yeah, she messed up.
So I'm afraid of Noam. That's why I didn't mention her. As much as I like her, I'm concerned that she will be just like Palin, that she doesn't have the depth needed to play at that level. And she might. I don't know. I just don't know. There's not enough. There's no way you're governing in South Dakota and it's going to be apparent to the country that you have that kind of depth. That's what happened with Tim Pawlenty, right? He just didn't have the ability. That's why most governors who become presidents come out of big states. California, Texas, they come out of these big states where you can show that you can govern a huge economy and a very diverse people. I mean, she's not dealing with any problem in diversity in South Dakota, right?
No. South Dakota has no culture. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have this issue that a Ron DeSantis will face, or a Abbott. Sorry, Abbott.
Why would you say grab it?
Because he wants to grab all our rights.
Yeah, Abbott. You like Abbott, Mom?
Yeah.
I know you've kind of like not liked him over the whole mask thing.
Yeah.
He's dead to you.
He's been a little bit annoying sometimes, but for the most part, I like him. I can't say I'm completely informed on all of his policies.
He's not changing it. You have to change it.
I don't want a camera on me.
Well, you can't put it on me. I'm not even the one talking.
Stop asking me questions.
You ask her a question, and then she just starts.
She does what she does on her phone. She doesn't know what she wants, but she'll like hover her finger over her phone for like an hour. Just trying to figure out, maybe she'll get inspired by something on her phone.
Don't talk about me like I'm not here. No.
Well, you said you wanted us to pretend you weren't here.
Yeah, Greg.
No, I don't know. I don't have a. That was a really hard question. I've never thought about it like that. Who I would want to run, who I would want to be president right now. I don't actually know anybody. That's interesting. I have to think about that. It's interesting. You guys had an answer right away. So you would say DeSantis.
Well, at the moment.
That's what I'm saying. Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
The way it looks right now.
Yeah, I mean, did you heard about? Yes, I'll put it on me. You heard about him saying that he wants to pass a law, or whatever you call it, to shoot looters.
Yeah. See. Oh no. Well, that's oversimplified. Okay. That's not exactly
You
the
can't
case.
I don't think. Yes, he's not saying you
He
can
wants-
stand
he
out there
wants
with your
it-
gun and just shoot people that you think might loot. You have
No, of
to
course not.
actually-
He's saying he wants to include it into the castle law, into stand your ground law. Sorry,
Yes.
and for that to be considered part of the stand your ground law.
So why did you react that way?
Because I think it's a lot more complicated than that. No matter what you pass in laws, you're still open for civil suits. which is, again, going back to what I think white men were thinking about when they didn't vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That it wasn't whether or not someone would pass a law saying it's legal to shoot a looter who's trying to burn your house. It's, do I want to be in the position that I'm shooting some teenage kid because he's throwing a Molotov cocktail at my house?
Mm-hmm.
It's silly to think that the only thing holding back these people, these law-abiding, law-respecting citizens, from shooting looters is because they're afraid of going to jail. That's one thing to think about. It's not the only thing. It may not even be the biggest thing holding them back. Who wants to go out and shoot these teenage kids, as petulant and spoiled and horrible people as they are? I don't think anybody wants to go out and shoot them.
So could it be a protection, though, the same way it is if your life is in danger in your own property, in your home? Then you're protected by law.
Well, that's the idea of castle doctrine.
Right? And nobody wants to shoot anybody, but if your family's in danger, then...
What I'm saying is that, I'm not against him saying that stand your ground should apply to that, and castle doctrine obviously should apply to that. That's fine, but it's not the solution that me as a father wants to hear from the politicians. I want government to do the one thing they're supposed to do, which is keep order, not put it off on me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pawning it off to the citizens and then saying you're protected by law, but you're not protected by civil suits.
Or even if they say you can't be sued, you can't go to jail, nothing at all can happen to you.
But,
I don't want to be the one to shoot them.
Right.
That's what government is for.
Yeah.
The idea that I actually take out a gun and shoot somebody to defend myself, my family, my property, that should be the last possible resort.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the way I want this to be resolved. I want government to do what it's supposed to do, which is to find a solution for this, and preferably one where nobody dies. That's what I want to see happen. That's what I want politicians to be talking about. I want them to come out and say, here's a solution for this. Here's how we are going to solve this looting problem. Here's how we're going to solve this rioting problem. And that's what they're not doing.
Yeah.
And so when a politician comes out saying how they're going to make it easier for me to shoot them, or less, I want to say easier. That's misrepresenting. But make it less legally tenuous for me to shoot somebody who's doing something wrong like that to me. Okay, that's great. That's not the solution I'm looking for. And so it discourages me when they do it. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear how the law enforcement bodies that my taxes are paying for are going to do their job more effectively. That's what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
How these people are going to be prosecuted. I think that I would have rather heard him or Texas governor come out and say, hear them come out and say, we are going to have public trials of anybody caught looting, rioting, burning anything down. We are going to try them to the maximum extent of the law. You're going to see them on TV being perp walked into jail.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't mind doing that. What is it, Singapore? You get caned for stealing?
Well, that's a whole. Now you're into fantasy land.
What? It could happen.
Well, yeah. I'm all for public. Corporal punishment.
Yeah.
I think that's the solution to our jail system is corporal punishment for minor offenses.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put people in jail for 60 days, right?
Yeah.
That those women who cheated the system and got their kids into university. Yeah, give them a public spanking. Why put them in jail? Put them out in public.
How long are they?
Whip their butts
are they still in
with
jail?
A cane, and then why cloud the jail? You don't like that?
Why? What? How long were they in jail?
No, they're still there. They just started serving their sentence.
Oh,
But it's like
just now?
Yeah, it's like a 60-day
One
sentence
of them
or
just
whatever.
now. The other one went in a while ago.
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious
That's
because
so
it's
funny.
famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
what's
like-
her name? that did it.
Lachlan. That was one of them.
Yeah.
Is she the wife of William H. Macy?
The other one that's been in, yes.
Yeah, like the William H.
Yeah.
Macy's wife went to
Yeah.
went
The
to
other
jail.
one was on Full House. The one that just went in was on Full House.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so she's not that famous.
Full House. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, and
She actually got
another
her own
show.
reality show now.
That's hilarious.
So she's
The Real Housewives of
The
whatever
Real-
penitentiary
the
they're in.
Real Housewives of San Quentin.
San Quentin Penitentiary.
They're in some little luxury jail.
I'm
They're
sure
not
they
even
are with no
real.
fence. You just walk around.
Have you been to one of those?
I have. They're hilarious.
They are hilarious.
They no fence.
Have you ever?
they
Did I
got
tell you about that?
Pool table, ping pong table.
Have you been to one of those? Have you ever? Oh, you haven't
No.
been, but you did. But I told you, right? I went out here to where's that jail out here? It's out by Bastrop. It's in Bastrop, where they had the fires, right? Where they had all those
Yes,
fires. Okay, yeah, Bastrop. Yeah, the jail, the state penitentiary is in, or one of them is in Bastrop, and I was going out to do toilet partitions to measure them,
Mm-hmm.
and you go out there and there is no fences. It's like you're driving up to a farm. It looks like a big farm. No fences at all. Anywhere. No gates, no guards. And they got these
They call them
bunkhouses.
orderlies. It's like the people that are watching them.
They call them orderlies?
Orderlies, basically, yeah.
Yeah, so you go out there and it's like this, you just walk up to it. There's nothing. It's real strange. It's like you're walking up to a big bunkhouse on a farm. And there's all these guys in this bunkhouse laying on the bunks or sitting on them or whatever. In there, like 50 people in this bunkhouse, 50 men. And that's the jail. There's nothing keeping them there. They just walk away if they wanted to. They're just sitting in there. It's the weirdest thing.
The thing is that what they'll do to them if they get caught trying to walk away. There's a maximum penitentiary.
Oh yeah, then they go to big boy jail.
Then they go to big boy jail. Yeah, they don't get two
Enough to
strikes.
keep you in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
walk away.
They don't walk away. They don't have to. They don't seem to have the need to put a fence up.
Nope, no fences, no guards on patrol. It's like you want to leave, we'll track you down. Then you go to penitentiary in the real jail.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's so odd. It's the
Very odd.
strangest thing. I was in there and it's like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
Nobody checked me and to see, I mean, if I had weapons on me or anything.
That's those what are the white collar
White collar.
prisons? A lot like that. They have cells and all that, but it's
Yeah, these guys didn't have cells. They just
No.
had a bunkhouse out in the middle of like a pasture. It's real weird.
Interesting.
So, are you going to get registered to vote for the next one? Because your
Yes.
vote cost us the election.
I know it did. I'm so sad about it. I didn't get back in time from Mexico.
Yeah,
to
you could have registered long ago.
I had no idea.
You didn't know you had to register.
I didn't. I thought I showed up and they said, no, you need to register. You're not in the system. And it's already too late.
And so, have you registered?
I did that day.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah, I
same way
didn't
with
know.
us. I wasn't registered to vote for Bush the second time.
Mm.
I don't think. Yeah, no. Romney was the first one. I actually voted for Romney.
Oh, did you?
Well, it was Romney or Obama. So
Do you feel stupid now?
nope.
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
it was Obama.
that was the
Yeah.
option. I didn't vote for
Yeah.
him in the primary.
Yeah.
I didn't vote in the primary for Romney.
Who'd
but
you
I-
vote for? You voted for I think Ted Cruz, didn't you?
Ted-
For this primary,
No,
Ted
the last
Cruz.
group when Romney was running.
right? Because there was no
Yeah, yeah.
primary really. There was no there. Effectively, there was no primary. Trump was the presumptive. Yeah, I voted for Cruz, but that was very hard for me. Because I'm not convinced that Ted Cruz is legally
Eligible?
eligible.
I thought that was the other guy who wasn't legally eligible.
What other guy?
There was another guy, Mexican guy. I think he was a Florida guy.
Marco Rubio?
Yeah.
No, he's
Rubio.
eligible.
Oh, I thought it was him that wasn't.
No,
You
Ted
weren't sure
Cruz
who
was
where
born
he
in
was
Canada.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Canadian.
He's born in Canada and his father was Cuban.
Mm.
So there's discussion. I mean, no one's sure if he's eligible or not to be president.
Am I eligible?
Well, you weren't born in the U.S., so
But I have national.
I know. So does he.
I have paperwork saying born abroad.
I know. So does he.
So you have to be born
In the
country.
in the territory.
Well, then he's not eligible. Why is there discussion?
Well, because they're not sure. It's not exactly clear that that's what that means in the Constitution.
Mm.
Does it mean that you have to be what is a natural born citizen? That's the question. Does it mean that you are a U.S. citizen at birth by virtue of your natural connection, meaning you were either born in the country, but do you have to have U.S. parents? Like, what if your parents are both from Mexico, they cross the border illegally, and you're born in the country? Are you a natural born citizen? Are you eligible to be president? Well, in Mexico, you wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
In Mexico, now it's one parent, but it used to, forever, it was two parents. Both your parents had to be Mexican citizens for you to be able to be a president. That's with the Mexican law. So under that law, all these, what they call anchor babies, would be ineligible to be the president of Mexico. If you would be ineligible in Mexico to be president because neither one of us are Mexican citizens, even though you were born legally in the country. In Mexico, you're ineligible to be president.
Mm-hmm.
So the question here is, what is a natural born citizen? Is it somebody who's born in the physical territory? Well, what about if you're born on an army base, like John McCain? What if you're born on a military base abroad? Well, they've basically, most people say, yeah, that's eligible because that's U.S. territory, that base is. What if you're born in a hospital outside the base? Your parents are both Americans. He's in the service, but for whatever reason, you're born in a little hospital in Cuba instead of on Guantanamo Bay. Are you eligible? Nobody knows. It's very hard. We're not sure what that means. The Constitution doesn't spell it out. So some people believe that you actually have to be born in the country. You can't be born outside the country, no matter who your parents are. And in that case, Ted Cruz would not be eligible.
And I wouldn't be an American citizen.
No, you're a citizen, but you're not eligible
for presidency.
You're not a natural-born citizen.
I'm not a natural-born citizen?
Well,
how dare you?
It's not spelled out very clearly. We don't know what that means. And that's been like 300 years, right? And we still don't know what that means. So
why hasn't anybody tried to figure that out?
Well, they have, because you had Mitt Romney's dad ran for president, George Romney, and he was born in Mexico. He had a situation like yours.
Oh, okay.
His parents were American, but he was born in Mexico because the Mormons moved to Mexico to get around the polygamy laws so they could have more wives. And so he was born in Mexico in that Mormon settlement. And so then he ran for president. It didn't go anywhere. He didn't get the nomination. So if there's no reason to do it, the only way we're ever going to know what it means, or at least decide what it means. We're never going to know what it means. There's no way to know. The only way we're going to decide what it means is someone's going to have to break that.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to become the nominee and run for president like that. Like Ted Cruz, if he'd won the nomination, we would know now how that's to be interpreted, because the Supreme Court, he would have been sued by the DNC as being ineligible.
Yeah. And
then it would have gone to the Supreme Court and they would have decided, and then that would be what it means.
Yeah.
We just never have had that case yet.
So if Mitt Romney wins, we're going to have like 6 first ladies? Is that how it's going to work?
Well, see, that's how he lost the first candidacy when he ran against McCain.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in the primary against McCain, he kept telling all these Mormon jokes because he was trying to diffuse it.
Yeah.
He was trying to diffuse it. And it just got to be where it's like every time he was telling, his 6-wife jokes or whatever.
I've never heard him tell that joke.
Well, he quit doing it because, and he lost that nomination and so when the second time, he didn't tell any of them. He learned. That's one thing about Romney. He's a good politician.
That's what you were saying.
Romney's a pretty good politician.
I don't like him.
I don't either. I don't like his politics.
Yeah, he's toilet water.
Well,
nah, I don't. I hate him. He's the worst. The worst.
Oh man. So what else, Nolan? Anything else about the election you want to get off your chest?
No, I'm not a hardcore election guy.
What about you, Terry?
No.
She doesn't want to.
She's been stewing and steaming and
Oh yeah.
for forever now. What has it been now? 2 weeks? Has it been 2 weeks?
I don't know. Well,
I mean, since the election.
yeah, maybe. No, not quite 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks Tuesday, probably. Right?
Man, it feels like it's been a lot longer than that. Feels like it's been forever.
Yeah. Well, 14 days, and the one with Bush and Al Gore went on for what, 29 days?
35 days.
35
I thought it was,
days.
something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we got a ways to go before
Yeah,
we.
I think we still have a lot to find out.
You
I'm
think
curious
so?
to know
Yes,
what's
I
going to
do.
happen.
I don't think there's anything to find out.
You don't think there's much to I think that
No.
I think in Michigan, I don't think Democrats had anything to do with it. I think that's just their system. It seems kind of suspect that they lost only Republican votes, but that's what they're saying. Who knows? You know, what's his name had so many votes. So Biden had so many votes. He could have lost tons of them and still be 4 million votes ahead of.
Not in Michigan, but in the country.
in the country.
Well,
right?
but
So
see,
you don't know where.
most of those are coming from New York and California,
That's true. That is true. I
where
like
it
that.
makes no difference. So a lot of these states are very close.
Yeah.
I would say half the states are very close, actually.
Do you think so?
And not so close as to say a recount will change them, but they're not. California and New York are like that's like North Dakota for the
Right.
Republicans.
Right.
I mean, both people in North Dakota vote red.
Right.
It's just like everybody. So that's where they get their numbers from. So when you look at the popular vote, well, that's coming from a few states that are overwhelmingly one way.
Mm-hmm.
But most states, I think, are pretty evenly divided, actually. Texas is pretty evenly divided. You look
Less
at
than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, you look at the
I
popular
thought it
vote,
was gonna
Texas
be more
is pretty
divided.
close.
I thought it was gonna be closer.
Oh, you thought it was going to be
I thought it was
closer?
gonna be closer. I was surprised that we won by what we did. I think in 3 more elections, maybe 2, it'll be blue.
It's possible.
I think it will be.
It'll be it's
I think if
possible.
Austin keeps growing the way it is, and it is growing,
See, I don't think that's what's pushing the blue vote.
I think it is. I think people that are all these college graduates are no longer leaving. So you get UT, you got A&M, you have all these colleges in Austin, and they would graduate UT and they're leaving. They're going to California, they're going to New York, Chicago, some are going to Houston. I don't think they're leaving anymore. I think Austin is growing enough to where they're actually attracting these college blue graduates and other people. I think the Californians, they're looking for a place that is like California and cheaper. And they're going to Austin, they're going to Houston.
The studies have shown that people leaving California tend to vote more
I've read that
conservative
story, but
than they did.
I don't think they're voting red, though. I think they're more conservative. I don't think they're
No,
voting
that's what
red.
they're saying. That's what the study is, that they vote
Mm.
red more.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think that I know a lot of people say that the immigrants from California are driving the quote unquote blue wave, but I don't think they are. I think it's the Hispanics,
I agree with you on that. The Hispanics
and I
are
don't
a
think
lot
that
of
there's
it, but
enough people coming out of UT to make a dent in the numbers that Hispanics are running up.
Well, the Democrats I'm talking about from California, I don't think they're the ones that are leaving California to get away from from blue, that are coming and turn and then voting blue here. I think it's the ones that are looking at that want exactly the same thing, just somewhat cheaper.
I don't know that there's anyone
You don't
who
think
wants,
there's people doing that? Because
No,
I've known of some. I've talked to some in Austin.
right, but I'm
like,
saying
you know,
statistically.
Okay, you're saying
I'm not
that
saying that
the
there's not
majority
that
of
there's
them are-
not people who
Yeah.
who just want different climate or something.
right.
But I'm just saying statistically, the people leaving California are doing so because of the policies. They are. It's the same reason why Cubans are leaving Cuba,
Right.
and that's
Okay.
why Cubans vote Republican,
Okay.
because they're leaving there because they are trying to get away from these policies, and that's why people are leaving California, because they're trying to get away from California politics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the studies show that they overwhelmingly vote Republican when they leave. What it shows is, it's not exactly how it shows. So what the study actually shows is that the place where the Californians move to does not become bluer. It becomes redder. It's difficult to know who's voting what.
Or you think it's blue people? I say blue Democrats. You think they're the ones moving? Because I know there's a huge amount of
Well, see, that's the
red
other thing.
in-
You don't
in
know. Well, there
California.
is. There's a lot.
there's a tons of them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them moving out,
And
finding
yeah.
places that are compatible. But that's my point. See,
Yeah.
that what the study shows is that where the Californians move to
Mm-hmm.
results in being more red, not more blue.
Interesting.
So the deduction is, right, the deductive logic is that therefore they're voting red, not blue. But it's very clear that Hispanics vote, especially from central, from Mexico and Central America and
Well, where
South
there's the
America.
majority of the Mexicans, they are blue. So you have El Paso, San
That's right.
Antonio, Houston, Austin, Dallas.
That's
And
right.
in Dallas and Houston, you got a lot of blacks and a lot of
Yeah.
Asian Americans.
Yeah.
And they majority vote blue.
I don't know what Asians vote.
From what I've the how they break down on the study that I saw, they normally vote blue.
Interesting. There's not enough of them to make a big
They're
difference
not
of the
enough at
Asian
all.
Americans.
No.
But Hispanics
Yeah.
are such a huge growing number. I mean, they're the one demographic that is actually growing, not shrinking.
Yes.
And they vote overwhelmingly
Blue.
Democrat.
Yeah.
Correct. Because they're not. That's the interesting thing. I can't speak very, very authoritatively or very knowledgeably about any other countries other than Mexico. But the people leaving Mexico are not fleeing their political process.
Not yet.
They're not trying to get away from their politics.
Yeah.
They don't see their politics to be the problem.
Not
of their
yet.
life.
I think that could change though.
Maybe.
I think it could turn into Venezuela, where they're leaving.
Well, I think
because of that.
Mexico is already a place you should be fleeing the politics.
Well, for us, because we know
Right.
better, but I don't think they see it.
Well,
that
that's
way.
the problem.
Yes.
That's my point.
Right.
And I don't know that Mexico could ever get to any point where Mexicans would believe that the problem is their
I don't
political
know about
philosophy.
that.
They always think it's whoever's in power.
Well, I'm sure Venezuela thought that for a long time until they started.
I'm
turning
not
into
sure
a
that Venezuela
dictatorship.
thinks that.
You don't think they think?
That their political philosophy is the problem. I'm not convinced that the average
The majority
Venezuelan
of 'em.
believes
Mhm.
that the problem in Venezuela is Marxism.
They think it's who
It's who's implementing Marxism.
they're not doing it right.
Right. That's what all socialists think.
And you think
All
Mexico,
socialists know that their socialism doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't think it's because socialism doesn't work. They think it's because whoever's running their socialism
Yeah.
doesn't work.
I don't know. I guess that makes sense. I don't.
But that's how it is in Mexico.
That's because Mexico doesn't even have a conservative party.
None. See, that's the thing. You say that could change.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, anything
You
could
don't
change.
see it changing in the country.
I don't see any path to change in the
Mhm.
country
Yeah.
because there is no, aside from a minuscule fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent, who because of influence from people like me, we're
Yeah.
talking about 100 people, which is nothing. It's like a zero.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
That doesn't make it.
Makes zero difference.
Yeah.
Aside from them, I don't know of anybody in Mexico who has any concept of right or of classical liberal philosophy. None. Zero.
It's a real culture thing because we have people that we're around Hispanics, Mexicans all day long, and they don't. They lived here their whole life, and yet they want what is in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't even know what that's even like. None of them have actually really lived in Mexico, but they want it
Yeah.
here.
Exactly.
It's that what their parents tell them.
It is their worldview.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And the Hispanic worldview, at least those coming from Mexico, again, because I don't know about other countries too clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be wrong about all the other ones. But Mexico, I've analyzed this for years very carefully and looked at a lot of the data on this. And in Mexico, they do not associate the failures of government with the philosophy of government.
Mm-hmm.
They always associate it with whoever's in power, the person. But that is a typical leftist ideology. That the policies are not the problem; it's the people. The right ideology is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
That the policies are the issue, not the people. You could put any person in there practically
Mm-hmm.
and be okay if you have the right policies in place. Where leftism depends entirely on the right person. That's why it's such a big deal to them who gets elected. That's why they'll riot if they don't get the right person in place.
And it's so funny. They will stand behind one person, always.
Yeah, it's a form of idolatry.
Yeah, it's like they're the Pope, and
That's right.
like the way they're treating. I mean, everybody talked about Biden. I mean, the guy is a walking corpse. I mean, nobody thinks, but they stand behind him 100%. He's our man, and we don't. The right does not do that. We have
No.
the Never Trumps. Who's the master of that one? I think that was Mitt Romney too.
Well, there's a lot of
Yeah,
Republicans. There's
yeah.
all the mainstream Republicans were the never Trumpers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the right definitely does not have the worldview that it's what Thomas Sowell calls the vision of the anointed. Right, we don't have this idea of an anointed leader who's going to make everything right. The right wing or the right side of thing, the rightist. No, there's not a good word for that. Like there's leftists, the rightists. They call them the conservatives, but it's not really the right term. Anyways, the conservative view is that everybody is corrupt,
Mm-hmm.
and this is because it's founded on the puritanical concept of original sin. Everybody is corrupt. The best we can do is to keep everyone from being corrupt. That is why the U.S. system is set up the way it is. Gridlock is built in.
Yeah.
Not being able to get anything done is a feature. It's not a bug of the system. People act like somehow that's what we need to overcome. We gotta get rid of all the gridlock. We gotta get rid of everything getting slowed down and bogged down in the mud in Congress. No, we need more mud.
Yeah.
We need more bogging down. The best Congress ever were the Congresses that could get zero done, pass less laws. Those are the best Congresses.
I feel like that's not hard in government, though. To get nothing done.
It's not hard in our government.
Not hard in our
In
government.
Mexico, you can completely change the Constitution from one day to the next. They do it all the time. Amendments, we have how many amendments are there in the U.S. Constitution? 27? Something
Yeah.
like that?
Mm-hmm.
Something in there?
think that, yeah,
Less than
20s,
30. I think
yeah.
it's less than 30. Less than 30 amendments in 300 years. That means, well, if you figure that the first 10 were done in the first year, so then you have, let's say, 20 amendments in 300 years. Well, that's what, one every 12 or 13 years
Yeah.
on average. In Mexico, they have hundreds of amendments.
Hundreds.
Hundreds of amendments.
So basically, if I'm president of Mexico, I can just change the entire system
Yes.
overnight.
Yes.
That sounds
That's what
amazing.
Gotari did.
Yeah.
That is what Cedillo did. That is what I think Portillo maybe did. They come in and they just make the government, the Constitution,
Mm-hmm.
remake it however they want the country to be.
That's very cool.
It's just like, we're going to change the Constitution today. That doesn't happen in America. America's designed so nothing can happen.
Yeah.
If you look in, if you've never done this and you look into what it takes to get people say we need a constitutional amendment. Do you realize what that takes to get that accomplished? It takes a world war. That's how they got prohibition in.
Yeah.
Prohibition, they got it in because they had a world war. All the men are off in jail. The women become convinced that their plight, economic plight, is because men are wasting the money at bars. And so they start the temperance movement. And because so many men are gone, they're able to get this amendment through. It takes a massive, what do you call it? Outside pressures.
Yeah.
And extreme circumstances for these amendments to pass through. Amendments do not get made
Mm-hmm.
lightly or easily. Never. They're here. And in Mexico, it's like, what do you call an amendment? You call that Tuesday. Just whenever you want. Just going to change the Constitution. That's
So then with that, a lot of people think that in about, I don't know, less than 4 years, we're all going to be standing outside of soup kitchens, waiting for the country's going to be in a depression. They're going to take all our guns away.
yeah, that's not going to happen. The guns isn't going to happen. A depression might, but it won't have. It's not going to be directly because of who's the president.
Don't we have a lot of fail safes? Is that the term, fail safes?
Fail safes, yeah.
For that, I mean, I know
No.
that after the first, I guess we've been in 2 depressions so
no,
far.
only one.
You don't count the coronavirus, how we were down by,
No, the market has been up higher than ever.
at the lowest point.
It would only lasted like a month. They have to go a certain amount of time.
Before you can consider it a depression.
Yeah, there's actually
Okay.
a what do you call it? There's actually there are actually rules, or there's a standard by which you call something a recession, a
Okay.
depression. It's how many consecutive weeks that you have a certain level of economic growth or
Right.
whatever. And so I forget what they are now, but there's an actual math formula that
Okay.
determines. It's not just because the news calls it.
Oh yeah.
They think so.
Well, I'm gonna get you off the subject again because I'm actually very curious. What we went through, right? The economic just jumped up right back up right after this coronavirus thing. You think that has to do with what Trump did?
No.
Or that's just Americans being American, free economy, the whole let's get
So-
back to work kind
So
of mentality.
here's the issue with that it's not a fair measure. It's not an accurate measure, in my opinion, to measure the economy by the stock market. See, this is
See,
I think
they use that a lot.
I know, and I think it is a false measure. It's like measuring unemployment by how many people file for unemployment. They're like unemployment numbers are at record lows. The numbers are fake. They're fake because they don't count anyone who is no longer looking for a job.
Right.
And there are millions and millions and millions of people who are not working, but they're no longer filing for unemployment. They've dropped out of the unemployment roll, but they haven't gotten a job. They're just no longer on the unemployment rolls because you only get a certain number of weeks. You only get 99 weeks maximum of unemployment. And after that, your unemployment benefits stop. Even if you don't get a job, you don't get counted as unemployed.
Right.
So these numbers are completely made up. They're completely fictitious. In the same way that the stock market measures a certain element of the economy, it does not measure what the economic situation is for the majority of people. How many people do you know own stock at any considerable amount? Probably
Handful.
none.
Yeah.
I bet none.
Okay. Oh, you're saying a good amount, like.
I'm saying a
Yeah.
considerable amount,
Yeah.
not dabbling in the stock market. I
Okay,
know
then no.
you may
Yeah.
know 3 or 4, maybe.
Yeah. That I
Right?
think they just kind of
They dabble.
couple $1,000.
They're
in
not
there.
they're not
Yeah.
living off of that. It's
No.
not making any difference at all in their economics.
Right.
Whether the stock market goes up or down, they make, $20 or they lose at $20. They make $100. They're not losing and gaining,
Millions of
losing
dollars,
and
yeah.
winning fortunes.
Yeah.
Right. So whether the stock market goes up or down to them has almost no bearing whatsoever. I mean, did you notice when the stock market crashed in March? If
In
no
my
one would have
personal
told you,
day, no. No.
Right.
No.
or at work, or at any aspect in your life, unless someone would have pointed out and showed you a graph that it crashed in March, you would have no idea that it even happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when it hit all-time highs, like a couple weeks later, was there any difference in your life? None. Right now, it's at all-time high. Right now, Bitcoin is almost at an all-time high. Does it make any difference to you? Zero.
I know some of my items in my cart on Amazon kind of went up a little bit. Couple dollars.
So it's not a good measure for the economy in an everyday sense, in my opinion.
Right.
It's and I think people look at it, and any politician who's having a good stock market time is going to say, I'm a great president because the stock market is at all-time highs. Nobody's wages are going up because of that.
Yeah.
Nobody's rent is going down because of these things. It is not directly connected in any way
To the regular person, to the average Joe.
No.
Working construction. Yeah.
It just really
So
is.
back to the original point we were talking about. You said we could end up in soup kitchens, guns taken away.
We might, because what happens
In 4 years. In these...
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
But it won't be, I don't think it'll be necessarily because of Biden. We have run up enormous amounts of debt. And at some point, that is going to bite us. And nobody knows when that is.
He's talking about a 4 to 6 week lockdown when he's president. Actual president. When he's really president. When he gets out of his basement desk over there and actually moves into the Oval Office.
He has a little crayon paper that says Office of the President-elect. He's got it written with crayon in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Little loser. Yeah. 4 to 6 weeks lockdown, and he's going to pay everybody's wages for that. And he's going to borrow money from the bank.
From which bank?
From a bank. From banks. That's what I read.
Oh,
It could be false information, but I've heard it multiple times.
First off, he doesn't have the power to do any lockdown. That just isn't a presidential power.
No, because that's a state
That's
mandate.
a state.
Yeah.
And already states have said they're not going along with it. So you're going to have states like Florida probably won't do it. South Dakota's not doing it. North Dakota's not. None of the states with few people are going to do it, I don't think, unless they're complete leftists. But I don't think any states that are with few people are leftist. So all those states aren't going to do it. And so you're basically saying we're going to tax the country in order to give three weeks of wages to all the New Yorkers and all the Californians. And he's going to have a tough sale getting that done. Tough sale. Because even small blue states are going to look at that and go, wait a minute, we're going to pay wages to all the Californians? That doesn't make sense. We're going to go into debt so that we can pay them 3 weeks of wages? He's going to have a tough sale on that. Then we'll find out how independent the Senate and the House actually are. The idea was the senators and the House were loyal to their constituents, not to the federal government or to the party. And so when the federal government wanted to tax a small state to subsidize a large one, or vice versa even, well, then the senator and House would say, no way, because they're loyal to their state. Now, we've lost a lot of that. And nowadays, these people tend to be loyal to their party and not to their state. And that's a huge loss. That's part of the problem with the, which is it, the 21st Amendment that made it where senators are elected by vote instead of designated by the legislature. Used to be you didn't vote for a senator. You only got to vote for your congressman. The senator was appointed by the state legislature. And that's how it should be. Because then the senators are supposed to be representing the legislatures in Congress, not the people. Now we just have two houses of Congress, right? We just have the House and the big house.
Yeah.
It's just what we have. We don't have any body that represents the interest of the state as a group, as a entity. And that's a mistake.
So then what would your advice be to the ones that are looking into if we're going to be in soup kitchen, say,
make sure you're on the side of the table that's serving the soup, not on the side of the table.
How do you do that?
Well, don't get into debt.
That's good. The people
Stay
going
out
in
of debt.
the people in line for the soup, they're the ones in debt. They're the ones who owe money to their car payments, house payments, clothes. I don't know.
All the consumer
their
debt.
Phone, all their consumer debt.
They're the people who can't go 1 week without a paycheck. If you can't last a week without a paycheck, you're in big trouble. You need to have an emergency fund.
How much do you think we should have an emergency fund for?
6 months. Be able to live. Obviously, you're not going to live at the same level. You don't have to have 6 months of living at the same level.
The one you're living now.
Right. But if you were to get rid of all just stop paying your phone bill, stop paying your cable bill, because all of those are unsecured loans, right? You could just you could just stop them,
paying
and they're not gonna. You're not going to jail. Nothing. They're just gonna cut off your phone if you don't pay it.
Right.
Like with mine, I don't buy any phones on credit. I buy my phones cash. And if I wanted to stop my cell bill, I could stop it right now, and I wouldn't owe a penny.
Yep.
Not a penny. Stop it
Yeah,
right
I
now.
love that.
Oh,
'Cause
nothing.
I like that because when I want to switch companies, I can just switch companies.
Yeah.
They've hesitated, and I always tell them, I can always switch companies. Y'all guys are making me mad. I'm gonna go somewhere else. No, sir, we're gonna give you this, and I don't want it. I just want you to make my phone work right. Yeah, I love that. That's amazing.
So that's the thing, right? I have a car that I don't owe any money on. I
Yeah.
have phones I don't owe money on.
Your business,
Business, I owe zero money on it. So if I wanted to shut my business down today,
and you just shut it
I
down.
could just push the button. If there were a button, I ought to make a
You
button.
should make a button.
I need to make a button and threaten everyone I work for with it. I'll push it. I'll push it.
Yeah.
Right, I could just shut everything down right now and live on money in the bank, and we would eat beans and rice every day, live very cheap, but we could live for quite a while that way.
Yeah.
And if you want to be on the right side of the soup
that line.
table,
Yeah, that soup table.
right? You want to be the one serving the soup. You got to get yourself in that financial position.
Yeah.
Which means cutting your consumer spending way down. If not, yeah, you're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah. That's good advice.
And whether Biden's president or Trump didn't do anything to fix this. He made everything worse. He spent $3 trillion in 1 year above our budget. I mean, huge amounts of debt.
Yeah.
And they're all doing that. And the reason they're doing it is they're propping up the stock market.
They're
This is what
making
people
it
need to
look like
understand.
it's...
Yes, they are running the stock market up because that's the matrix. People look at the stock market and say, our country's doing great. The stock market is an all-time high. But you're not doing great.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the same because you're not in. Who's making the money on this? Well, people who are already wealthy, they're making the money on this. And I don't have any problem with that. I have no problem with the wealthy getting wealthier. Fine with that. And I'm not saying that somehow we need to go eat the rich. That's Marxism. I don't subscribe to it. What I'm saying is you need to stop thinking that I'm not going to say you, but every
right.
person needs to stop thinking that the stock market going up is good for them. Directly, it's not. You want to know what's good for you directly? Your consumer spending going down. That's good for you. It's not good for the stock market. That's why the government, when they do these what do they call them? These stimulus packages, they want to give you cash, and they want you to spend that cash on Amazon, at Walmart, at Best Buy, at Target, wherever it is you spend your money. They want you to spend that money. Why do they want you to spend the money? Because that'll drive that stock up.
Mm-hmm.
They are giving you money so that you will go spend and drive the stock up for these companies so that the stock market will go up. That's what they want. If every American took the money they gave them and put it in the bank and didn't spend it, they'd be furious. Stock market would plummet. Even though everybody would have more money in the bank and be better prepared for bad times.
So we should, if I was president, then I should just not care what the stock market is doing at all.
Well, not if you want to get elected.
Not if I don't want to get elected. Even though more people people have more money, but they see the stock market going down, they're like, oh, the world's going to end, even though they have money.
Because there is a connection eventually, right? If the stock market goes down, if companies lose their value, well, then you're going to see jobs lost, and then that's going to get back around to you. I'm not saying there's no connection.
Okay.
But the idea that just because the stock market's up means everything's going well, that's just a silly matrix. It doesn't work that way.
Interesting.
Well, you want anything you want to add?
No.
3 hours. I think I like this side of the table more
Then which side?
than that one. I think I like it right here.
Well, when you watch the video and how it was done, because I've been watching, you're going to wish you had been over there.
Really, Mom? See, I'm talking, but the count. See, there you go. How long have you been doing that?
Oh, all day.
She's yingy.
Put it on you. Let them see your angry face. Let them see angry emoji.
Yeah.
You see that angry emoji? She looks just like that when she gets mad. She has, it's like all you got to do is paint her yellow and she'd be the angry emoji. Or it's orange, right? Orange.
No idea. I don't use
Yeah.
them. That's for women and children. Emoji.
That's hilarious. All right. Well, thank you, Nolan.
Yep.
We appreciate all your work on the video, and we'll be happy to get you back over on that side of the table.
Well, that's too bad.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week at 9 o'clock.